The smell hit him first. Not rot, not death, but something arguably worse. It smelled of wet cardboard and stale recycled air conditioning that hadn't seen a fresh filter in decades. He opened his eyes to a ceiling of acoustic tiles, the kind marred by little worm-like fissures, stained a sickly yellow by years of neglect. He sat up, expecting the familiar clutter of his bedroom, but instead found himself seated in the center of a hallway. It was endless. To his left, the corridor stretched into a vanishing point of beige walls and chocolate brown trim. To his right, the same. The carpet was a dizzying, geometric nightmare of maroon and gold interlocking circles that seemed to shift and writhe if he stared at them too long. He stood up, his knees popping in heavy silence.
Hello?
He called out. The word didn't echo. The carpet and the porous acoustic tiles swallowed the sound instantly, leaving the air dead and flat. He chose a direction at random and began to walk. The hallway was lined with doors numbered in brass. 302, 304, 306. He tried the handle of 304. Locked. He tried 306. It didn't even have a handle, just a smooth, featureless brass plate where one should be. He walked for what felt like 10 minutes, passing identical sconce lights that emitted a low, headache-inducing hum. He checked his watch. The second hand was twitching back and forth between the 12 and the 1, paralyzed in time. That's when he felt a change in air pressure, a subtle shift like a heavy door opening and closing miles away. He stopped. The silence rushed back in, pressing against his eardrums like water theft. A single soft footfall. It came from behind him, far back near where he had first woken up. He whipped around. The hallway was empty, just the endless recession of maroon circles and beige walls.
Is someone there?
He yelled, his voice cracking. No answer, just the buzzing of lights. He turned back around and started walking faster. His heart began a slow, heavy rhythm against his ribs. This place felt horribly familiar, like a memory of a hotel he stayed in as a child, or a fever dream he had forgotten upon waking. It was a liminal space, a place between places, where reality felt thin and stretched. He took a sharp left turn where the hallway branched. The decor didn't change. Same carpet, same lights, same smell of damp dust. 2 steps this time. Closer. He froze, holding his breath. He strained his ears, listening past the hum of the electricity. For a long moment, there was nothing. Then, he heard a sound that made the hair on his arm stand up. It was the sound of a coarse fabric brushing against wallpaper. Someone was sliding their hand along the wall as they walked, tracing his path. He started to jog. The soft soles of his sneakers made little noise on the carpet. But his breathing was becoming loud, ragged. He needed to find a stairwell, an elevator, a fire exit, anything to break the loop. He turned another corner and skidded to a halt. The hallway ahead didn't end in a wall. It ended in absolute darkness. The floor and ceiling just stopped. He walked to the edge. It was a sharp, sheer drop into a void. But floating in the darkness were other hallways, twisting at impossible angles, some upside down, some vertical. It looked like a corrupted file in a video game map. The rhythm was faster now, determined. Panic set in. He backtracked, taking a different turn, sprinting now. The geography of the place was hostile. The walls seemed to narrow as he ran, the ceiling dipping lower. The buzzing of the lights grew louder, sounding like a swarm of angry wasps. He risked a glance over his shoulder. At the far end of the corridor, perhaps 50 yards back, a shadow stretched across the floor. It was long, unnaturally long. It spilled out from around the corner he had just passed. He forced himself to look forward, adrenaline flooding his veins. He saw a set of double doors ahead with a glowing red exit sign. Salvation. His lungs burned as he sprinted the final stretch. He could hear the pursuer now, not just footsteps, but the wet, heavy slap of bare skin on carpet. It was sprinting too. He slammed his body against the crash bar of the exit doors. They didn't budge. He shoved again, screaming in frustration, rattling the handles. Locked. Welded shut. The sounds behind him stopped abruptly. The silence returned. Heavier than before. It felt thick. Suffocating. He slowly turned his back to the doors, pressing his spine against the cold wood. The hallway was empty.
Show yourself!
He screamed, the fear turning into aggressive hysteria. Nothing. Just the beige walls, the ugly carpet, the flickering lights. Had he imagined it? Was the isolation breaking his mind? He slid down the door until he was sitting on the floor, burying his face in his knees. He focused on his breathing. In, out, in, out. Then he heard it. It wasn't a footstep. It wasn't a brush of fabric. It was a rattle. A wet, gurgling rattle, coming from above. He slowly lifted his head, looking up at the ceiling, at the water-stained acoustic tiles. Directly above him, one of the tiles had been pushed aside, revealing a dark, crawl-space void. From the darkness of the ceiling, a pale, hairless face with no eyes and a mouth that stretched vertically from the chin to forehead slowly lowered itself down, dripping thick saliva onto his shoulders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a baffling mystery unfolding in the downtown area. Local authorities are renewing their urgent appeal for information regarding the disappearance of 34-year-old Elias Vance, who vanished nearly a week ago. Vance was last seen on the afternoon of October 14th near the Convention Center district. Security footage confirms he entered a service corridor in the East Wing just after 4 p.m. But there is no footage of him ever exiting the building. His car remained parked in the structure. His phone was found smashed near a freight elevator, and there have been zero activity on his bank accounts. Sources close to the investigation have told Channel 8 News that the only clue found on his person was a strange, handwritten note in his pocket that read simply, "It smells like damp electricity in here." Elias Vance is described as 6 feet tall with brown hair and blue eyes, last seen wearing a gray jacket. His family is desperate for answers. If you were at the convention center on the 14th and saw anything out of the ordinary, you are urged to contact the anonymous tip line immediately.